We'll call the August 8th, 2016 Village Board. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Trustee Childakis.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
This evening, we will be starting with Trustee Stapleton.
Here.
Virgilio.
Here.
Blatzer.
Here.
Chaldakis.
Present.
Miklos absent. Snagowski.
Here.
Next on the agenda is the consent agenda, which is approval of minutes for July 25th, 2016 Village Board. And approval of disbursements. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Made by Trustee Snagowski, second by Trustee Childakis. Any questions in regards? With none, roll call.
Stapleton.
Here.
Yes.
I guess, pardon me, sorry. Somewhere else.
We already did that one. Okay, Virgilio.
Yes.
Blatzer.
Yes.
Chaldakis.
Yes.
Miklos absent. Snagowski.
Yes.
Motion approves. Next on the agenda is the mayor's report. And since we just had a village board meeting, I don't really have anything new to report through the summer. So that will go to our audience participation as it pertains to board meetings. I know we're all, a lot of us in the crowd here are anything besides St. Pat's, because obviously we'll give everybody an opportunity to speak as regards to St. Pat's as it comes up. Anybody else have anything else they'd like to speak of in regards to that? Yes, sir. If you could come to the podium, please, sir. Yep.
Should be.
I'm here today. My name's Jack Farrar. I live in the Birch Path subdivision. Moved there in March 2016. I have an issue with the builder. The builder is Tempo Builders. I've been corresponding email with the trustees, Mr. Mayor. Trying to put a face with the problem that's going on there. The reason that I'm here, I usually don't attend meetings. I watch them on TV like most people. But I have great concerns about a huge pile of dirt that was put next to my house after I moved in. After I closed on my house, I was not expecting this to happen. My concern is that this pile of dirt was moved in one day. I was not notified of it. It just happened. It has decaying vegetation and it smells. It has dust blowing all over the place. I mean, I live in the house. I close on the house. I live there. I could see if you have a builder has an issue and they have to put the dirt someplace and they put it where a house isn't inhabited. But in this case, it's right next door to my house. My concerns, I don't know how long this dirt pile is going to be there. Just to give you a history of the builder, timeline, I signed my contract with Tempo Builders in December 2014. I sold my house, and I lived in Mokina. I sold my house in March of 2015. Builder told me in March of 2015 that the house would be completed by November of 2000. By November 2015. I gave the builder instructions, please break ground, get going, let's go. Builder broke ground in August of 2015. That's several months after I closed on my house. And I'm giving you this history so that you know what I've been going through, and this is my concern. Eventually, it was framed in October 2015, drywalled in December 2015. We eventually closed in March of 2016, a year after I sold my house. I am more than willing to work with the builder if they have problems. I'm not an unreasonable person. After I close, still waiting on stuff to get done. There was a punch list. Then on July 12th, 2016, this pile of dirt was moved on lot 10. I'm on lot 11. It was moved next to me. Okay? Why do I have issues? there's 17 lots in that subdivision, okay? Lots that still have not been completed. Lot 7, Lot 8, Lot 9, Lot 10, Lot 13, Lot 14, Lot 15, Lot 16. So my concern is that this builder is taking a lot of time in getting things done. I've exercised patience. My neighbors aren't here to speak. They've exercised patience. And I don't want to be creating any type of issues, but I feel as though the village should be aware of this. Mr. Schaefer, the administrator, I've spoken to him about it, and, you know, he's been very, you know, attentive to the situation and has been in correspondence with me on this. And I'm not complaining about the village. I'm complaining about the builder. And either the codes that the village has are not stringent in terms of allowing a builder to do this, okay? And something's got to be changed there. Or with the existing codes, I believe that this is something that has to be changed immediately. And I mean, I can't put a huge pile of dirt on my lot, on my front lawn, on my backyard for my neighbor to smell, you know, for dust to go into their backyard. I haven't used my backyard all summer. I mean, I've been waiting, you know. I want to get on with life. That's something that, you know, I think is important. So I don't know if I've covered everything, but again, I want you to know what I've been going through. And again, I've exercised patience. I haven't really had a problem with the builder in terms of, hey, I can work with you. If you're having problems getting things done, I'm patient, work with you. But this is beyond. And I've had new construction built. I used to live in Mokina. I had a house built. Usually the builders will put the dirt on a site that's further away, or they'll put in the back of the lot the amount of dirt that needs to be used, topsoil, whatever you want to call it, and then put back, you know, once the construction's done, then put back on the lot.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's my issue, and I wanted to bring it to your attention. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. If you could, just a minute, Mr. Farrow. So I know that you've talked with Trustee Snagowski. He was out and talked with you. He brought a report back to the board in regards to a couple of issues that are out there in regards to the builder. That has been brought to Mr. Schaefer's attention, and also Mr. LaChapelle's over there as far as in our building department and our code enforcement, and we're working on that. And we will make other attempts as far as in working with the builder to try to expedite some of these other issues out there. In regards to the topsoil pile, it has been our position as a village, not only under this administration here, but previous ones, as in when people are mass grading and such and digging foundations, like you mentioned, moving topsoil from one lot to another to be able to help backfill so they're not taking dirt off back and forth. We have allowed that. So I did see your pictures today that you did send. I do appreciate that. We will reach out. I will have, again, Mr. Schaefer tomorrow, see if we can get a conference call between myself, Mr. Schaefer, and Mr. Ford, and see what we can do to try to mitigate, one, the issue of the dirt, and then on top of that, also see what we can do to expedite some of the punch list items as far as in the subdivision. So I do appreciate your diligence on this. Again, you know, it's been a great summer. We don't want to have, you know, we want to try to make it as best as possible for everybody out there.
Yeah,
And
I'd
I do,
like
and
to,
I
I'd
do
like to be able to use it in the fall.
No,
you
I
know,
understand, and well, and not only that, because I didn't see erosion fencing around as far as on the pictures. I did not see that as far as on that lot. So that's another thing with all. I mean, you had 6.5 inches of rain in July. You know, that's going to, you know, leach into your yard too. So we want to make sure that all those types of things are up, operational, and working to the best ability. So I know you have, again, Mr. Schaefer's number. We will work on that through the week. Hopefully we can get something here very shortly. And then I will make sure that George gets back in contact with you.
Thank you.
All right?
Thank you for
Thank you,
your
sir, for
time.
coming
Thank
out
you for
tonight. I
your time.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
I want to know, and then you're going to cover it later.
My name is Pat, that's not even on.
That's fine. Actually, it is. We can hear you.
My name is Pat Brown, and I live near 115th and Bell Road, and I'm wondering what the status is now of this lawsuit about the 19 parcels that were annexed into the village of Lamont. I notice there's a for sale sign on the parcel at McCarthy and Bell Road that the village brought sewer and water to recently, and it was supposed to be built a certain number of houses, I've forgotten how many. And I'm wondering what the status is of that. And I also noticed that there's a sign up on Archer, just a little bit south of Montefiore. I think that's still township property, but it's a sign up for sale also, certain number of acres, and that just went up a couple days ago. I don't think Cog Hill owns that property, but I'm not sure.
No, that one's a private individual, but do you want to talk about the 19? Have our village attorney, Mr. Stein, answer that for you.
The brief status is that the case was recently served upon us only about 5-6 days ago. We have at least 45 days to file a motion to dismiss the case, which is what we will be doing. I've already contacted the Assistant State's Attorney about that. For various different reasons, way too boring to get into, and we have a long meeting tonight.
Okay.
But we are actively defending the case, and we're actively negotiating with the State's Attorney to determine what the best course of action is. As far as the other original case that was filed by Palos Park, that has been dismissed entirely. The court said that Palos Park had no dog in the fight, essentially, and dismissed the case.
So who is behind this lawsuit by the Cook County State's Attorney? For what purpose?
Well, the Cook County State's Attorney has the right to bring the lawsuit under the statute. When you say who's behind it, it's the State's Attorney that filed the lawsuit. That's all I can really answer.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming out in regard to that. Anybody else in regards? With none, we'll go to the clerk's report.
Okay, I also have nothing to report within the last few weeks. We went to a couple of ribbon cuttings locally, and that's really about it. Summer, I guess. The first ordinance, if passed this evening, would be O-20-16, granting approval of a special use for a
The guys, the mics are on. I apologize. It's just a speaker system. They can hear us at home. It's just the way that it is. I
try to
apologize.
speak up,
We'll
though.
try to amplify Madam Clerk here as soon as possible.
I'll use my outdoor
Yeah,
voice. You
use
ready?
your outdoor voice, please, Madam Clerk.
teacher voice.
We-
Okay.
Like when you used to yell at students. You gotta project tonight, so you gotta.
Okay, well, I don't know. Okay, this is ordinance O-20-16, and this is granting approval for a special use for a container storage yard and a variation to 17-.29.020F.3 to allow for the detention facilities to be constructed of non-compacted aggregate at 13769 Main Street in Lamont, Illinois.
I need a
This-
motion to, I'm sorry.
This is for a special use and variation.
I need a motion to approve.
So move. Second.
Made by trustee Stapleton, second by trustee Childakis. Heather? Heather. Oh. Help me out here. Throw me a bone. So,
All right.
you know,
Thank you,
someone
Mr.
raise their hands.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, Phil Finaro, on behalf of the contract purchaser Main Street LLC, is requesting a special use to allow for parking and storage of trucks and trailers at 13769 Main Street. The applicant is also requesting a variation for the non-compact aggregate materials to construct their detention ponds. Tonight, you'd be voting on the ordinance to approve both their special use and their variation.
Thank you, Heather. Any questions in regards?
Heather, just one question. Parking will be in the back of the facility, not in the front?
Correct. So
Okay.
they are restricted to parking all of their trucks and trailers, not their employee vehicles, but their trucks and trailers on the back portion of the site.
Okay.
Yes, trustee Blatzer.
And I assume this is for Ralph, actually, that the detention pond being, it says the detention ponds be gravel rather than sod is going to be okay? That's not going to cause any issues?
As long as it's large enough material, so it doesn't have washout capability.
Right. Right, and so we'll make sure of that then, I'm
Yeah.
assuming? Okay.
With none, roll call?
Stapleton?
Yes.
Virgilio?
Yes.
Blatzer?
Yes.
Childekis?
Yes.
Miklos absent. Snagowski?
I'm abstaining from voting to avoid any perception of a conflict of interest.
Okay.
Motion approves.
The next ordinance, if passed this evening, would be O-21-16, and this is approving a real estate purchase and sales contract for 318-320 Canal Street.
I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Made by trustee Blatzer,
Second.
second by trustee Virgilio. You got this one?
Yep. Thank you,
Schaefer.
Mr. Mayor. For several years, the village has leased the property at 318 and 320 Canal Street, more commonly referred to as Budnick Plaza, from a private landowner. Over the years of the lease, the village has improved and maintained the space as a public park area for the community to enjoy. With the expiration of the most recent lease, the village has been investigating options to buy the property outright, and staff and legal counsel has been in negotiations for the last several weeks on purchasing the property outright from the private property owner. With regard to the budget, this was not a foreseeable situation at the time of implementation of the budget, but we foresee savings, and we're going to include this expenditure in our next budget amendment next month to correspond with savings in other areas. So there's a net zero effect on the budget, and then going forward, we will not have to pay any lease payments out. So staff recommends the purchase of the property at this time. If there's any other questions, let me know.
Any questions? Roll call?
Stapleton?
Yes.
Virgilio?
Yes.
Blatzer?
Yes.
Childekis?
Yes.
Miklos absent. Snagowski?
Yes.
Motion approves.
The next item, if passed this evening, is a resolution, and this would be R-46-16. And this is the authorizing the award of the contract for the 2016 MFT resurfacing program. The MFT number is 16-00000-01-GM.
Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Made by trustee Blatzer,
Second.
second by trustee Childekis. Mr. Pakula? I knew that one, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a resolution for our 2016 MFT road resurfacing program. There were two bidders on this project, with the low bidder coming in at $364,815.97. That's $66,733.63 under the engineer's estimate. We will be doing just over a mile of streets this year with Fremont, Grant, Steepleview, Spire Drive,
Two brothers.
Brown Drive, and McCarthy Street involved with this project. And I'll be pushing for a August 22nd start date from Brothers Asphalt out of Addison, Illinois. Staff recommendation is to accept the bid from Brothers Asphalt Paving for $364,815.97.
Thank you, Ralph. With that being so far under, is there anything we want to add since we have funds available or not? An extra alley, is there anything we want to do or what? Do
I'd
you have
like
any?
to see where the alley bids come in at,
Okay,
so we'll see where that comes in, and then we'll work on something
okay.
with that.
Do you want to give any updates as we speak right now in regards to, actually, hold on, I'll wait. I'll come back to you under staff on that. Any questions in regards to the MFT contract for this year?
No.
August 22nd, you said?
I'm pushing for August 22nd.
With a completion date by, weather depending, I know, worst case, into September?
End of September.
Third week of September.
Okay, fair enough. Any other,
One-
yes?
And traffic will be able to get through on those streets, or will they have
Yes,
it closed?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, McCarthy Street gets local traffic only, that's because our water main project's going on right now.
Right.
But with the other streets, it'll be open traffic.
Buses will be able to get through? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Ralph. Any other questions? Roll call?
Stapleton?
Yes.
Virgilio?
Yes.
Blatzer?
Yes.
Childekis?
Yes.
Miklos absent. Snagowski?
Yes.
Motion approves.
That's all I have this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Village Attorney's report? Thank you, Mr. Stein. Village Administrator's report?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple quick items. The new website launches this Thursday. So if you take a look Thursday, you can check lamont.il.us. You will see the new revamped website. We've enhanced it for appearance purposes, but also to improve the communication and outreach to our residents. and ultimately to improve transparency in everything that we do here at the Village. So please look at your website on Thursday. Staff has logged many hours on trying to touch every piece of information possible that the community may need. We're also rolling out the community calendar. At the same time, for years we've talked about all the different agencies and entities throwing events on similar weekends. This will be one standard calendar for everyone to input their events, and a place where you can go and check that out too. And then we'll also be updating or bringing about our new outreach tool called Stay Informed, which will replace our Nixle form. So all the information is on our website. On any type of information, you can opt into different categories, different types, how you want to get the information. So really an exciting time on Thursday. We will be pushing that out to the public, and then in September we will be bringing about our new mobile app, but that's a little bit delayed into September. But please check it out on Thursday. This is an interactive tool. If you look at it and you make changes, recommendations, please send that to myself or Linda Molitor, and we will include that in our next round of revisions. Lastly, I just want to make note here, kind of a bittersweet day. Charity Jones, and it's a perfect time with many community members in the crowd who've worked with Charity over the last several years, and you'll hear from her later on in the agenda, as we all know. Charity Jones is their last board meeting with the Village of Lamont. She's accepted a position to go to the Village of LaGrange at the end of the month. Very sad, very sad day for us, but we're happy for Charity. You know, you want your employees to do well and take on new challenges, and she's definitely got that in LaGrange, and she won't be too far away when we ask her, hey, how does this work? How does that work? But we're happy for her, definitely, for the new challenge. You know, she's been a very important, vital member of our management team, very important member of our village. When she's not here anymore, she'll have plenty of structure. There's going to be, the comp plan that she worked very hard on, the zoning code updates, the branding. We can go on and on about all the initiatives that Charity helped implement, and not to mention oversight of a lot of development, especially over the last 3 years where Charity was the community development director for Lamont. So we are sad to see her go, but happy for Charity, and it's good to see another product of Lamont go elsewhere and do greater things, and that's what we're going to get out of Charity. So I just want to say thank you, Charity, for everything you've done for me and for the staff, and I just want to be the first to wish those congratulations today.
Thank you, George. In that, I can tell you that when developers or anybody that I get phone calls from or interaction from, it's always been what a pleasure it is to work with Charity. And over the last 14 years and prior to that, seeing individuals that have been in your position, I think everybody on this board, and especially, when I talked to Trustee Blatzer, our clerk, Trustee Virgilio and Trustee Stapleton, who've been here for a long time, we can make fun of the people in the past, that's for sure. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. And we will continue to do so, and the first year after you're gone, it's always going to be your fault. So, I just want you to know that. So, it's Charity did it, so, it's obviously that.
Yeah, the name lives on.
Yeah, it does. But you have truly done what I feel that everybody that stops in the Village of Lamont has done. You've made it bigger, brighter, and you've brought a new sense of importance to what you do downstairs, and this town is truly much better off because you were here, and we will truly miss you. I've said it many, many times, when you have a town that is our size and has the capabilities and things that we do. We generally are a stopping ground for the better and the brighter and the people that go on to the next step. So I know that doesn't say much for you, Chief. I just want you to know that. So that's what, So
Are you leaving?
I want to know if they got anybody in LaGrange. Do you need a chief in LaGrange? You might want to check that out. So. Just joking. You're much better than Shaughnessy, man. I got to tell you, and Shaughnessy still watches, so that's what's the funny part about it. But truly, and I'm sure other people will make the same comments. Thank you so much for all you did. So we will miss you. So. Anybody else want to add anything onto that?
Oh, you said it well.
Thank you, thank you.
I would just add one quick thing, and
Yep.
I already told Charity I can't even look at her because I'll just start weeping, but she will be greatly missed, and she brought a lot of professionalism and calmness, and I think she did the best she could for the village and still was able to negotiate with the developers and the builders and the people that came in and in a very pleasant way, because you can disagree without being disagreeable, and I think she really epitomized professionalism in the position, and so that too we will miss, as well as her sparkling personality. So thank you. Keep in touch.
Yes. All right, with that, I see no board reports tonight. Under staff reports, I want to add, Mr. Pikula, would you please give us an update to where we are at on McCarthy Street and any other construction projects you have in the pipeline?
Sure. McCarthy Street is about 80% water main is in, and I imagine they'll be finishing that other 20% this week. Then we will fill the main, we will chlorinate the main, we will sample the main. That'll take approximately a week. Then we'll start the services, and the services will probably take till the end of the month. And then we'll hopefully be ready for the paver when the paver comes, Brothers, and get that paved right away. But then we have the IDOT projects, Illinois Street. George, do you have an idea of when Illinois was?
More than likely, it will be July 29th, but they're still working on contracts. It'll probably be it'll be after Labor Day, and then it'll be finishing up right before the winter. It'll be.
Yeah, we do have our sewer cleaning and televising project going right now, which is almost complete, actually.
Okay.
Other than that, we're just waiting on our water main project and our road resurfacing.
Great. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yep.
With it being the first of the month, I smell the tip of the month. Chief Bayton.
I wanted to bring the residents' attention to Public Act 99-720 that was signed by the governor on Friday. The new law mandates that driver instruction courses and the rules of the road now will include some training on what to do during a traffic stop, a police role during a traffic stop, and what the public expectations are. This was a big concern for the legislators this year. They want to make sure that people understand what's happening during a traffic stop, that there's not any miscommunications that lead to violence. So those will be effective on January 1st, and the rules of the road will contain those from now on. Those instructions were put on the village website this afternoon, so if you want to take a look for the already licensed drivers around the website now.
Thank you, Chief. All right. Anything under unfinished business? With none under new business, we have a certificate of economic hardship appeal for St. Pat's. I need a motion right now to open the appeal.
So
Made by trustee Chaldeka, second by trustee Blatzer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? With none, the motion is, the appeal is open. At this time, I will turn this over to our attorney, Mr. Jeff Stein.
Mr. Mayor, I asked that the village board move to appoint me as the hearing officer for procedure matters only.
So moved.
So moved.
Made by trustee Snagowski, second by trustee Blatzer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? With none, Jeff Stein is made the hearing officer. Do you want to read the rules and regulations, or do you want me to go through that? All right, through the rules and regulations, anybody that has the desires the opportunity to speak, we do have a court reporter that is here tonight, which means this is a legitimate hearing, and I need anybody that speaks to the podium to give their full name and address, and at that time, Mr. Stein will swear you in as far as a witness. So with that, Mr. Stein, you have the floor.
At this point, we are, the court reporter here, only one person can speak at a time, because she has to write down what that person's saying. If there's multiple people speaking, she's probably going to throw something at all of us. So we do need some order to it, and we do have an order. As far as getting up and speak, we do ask that you state your name clearly, and that you do provide your address. As far as swearing in, this is not a public hearing. That has already happened, and I'm going to go over that a little bit. But as far as a preliminary matter, today, the purpose for this is only for an appeal to the economic hardship. It's not for any other matter that was before the Historic Preservation Committee. It's not for any other ordinance that the village has in place. This is only an appeal for the economic hardship, which is part of your packet here today. There is really no need to reiterate every bit of testimony. I believe our counsel will probably agree with me on that, but we can go over any of the testimony that any party feels is relevant. New relevant evidence may be provided as well if it's occurred after the fact. I believe that this board will entertain any kind of new evidence. So it is important to note that there was a public hearing held before the Historic Preservation Committee, which I believe started in January 14th of 2016, and concluded in April 14th of 2016. The commission has entered a findings of fact. These are all part of your packet, and that is what we are essentially hearing the appeal of. This appeal was requested by the applicants, which is St. Pat's, and this was the date that we had agreed upon. At this point, though, I do believe that there is a preliminary request from Mr. Moore, so I think we'll start with that, and let's get a ruling on that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and trustees of the Village of Lamont. My request on behalf of Father and the parish is that we give this a little more time. And the reason is I sent a letter to the village last Tuesday, and Father called the mayor, wasn't able to talk to him, but did talk to Mr. Schaefer, who said that his request would be communicated to the mayor. And our request in Father's call and my letter informed the village that a person known, I think, locally, Sal Alfano, and his company, Addison Company, has proposed a purchase of the property. They want not only the actual old school property, they want the parish property next door, which is a issue of some history with the parishioners, because the parishioners spent $130,000 a few years ago with a big campaign to buy that property, and always thought it would be additional parking. But I'm told that there is 90% or more agreement on the proposal, and there's a few details to work out with mostly about the parking and the lot on the additional lot. And it really makes no sense to, if I can be euphemistic, to go to war when we could have peace. This could be a win-win for everybody. If I could ask a trustee to make a motion to defer this to September or October, the preservation is winning. The building's still there. It'll still be there in a month. And if we can work out the 10%, the little bit of details that need to go out, the parish will have a way to transfer this albatross around their neck, this financial burden they have, to someone who will make something out of it that will get the village where it wants to go. So the parish will get where it wants to go, and the village will get where it wants to go, and everybody will win. On the other hand, if you force us, to our only alternative after tonight, if you because we don't have money to renovate $1 million or so that it's going to cost to make this building a viable building again. And our only alternative, if you rule against us tonight, and I'm not arguing that now, I'm saying let's not get to that. Let's have a win-win for everybody.
But if you force us to that, our only other alternative is to go to a court. We have a record to go to a court. Church-state issues are very topical these days. It might be a very interesting case, but why do that? Why, the 950 parishioners who are also your constituents, why put brother against brother? Why do what in a few days or a few weeks or a month or so we might be able to avoid altogether? So I'd respectfully request that you give peace a chance and just defer this for a short time.
Thank you.
At this point, Mr. Mayor and Board, there could be a motion to approve the request to continue this matter to September 12th or the first Monday in October, or the second Monday in October. If we do that motion, doesn't necessarily mean that you're voting that way, but it probably is a good idea for the record to make the motion for discussion purposes only to approve the request to continue. And Tom, what did you want, September?
I'm told we're pretty much there, so any time would be very helpful.
So,
Just for the record, if I could, I'm sorry, Mr. Stein, if I could make a note, being that our first meeting would not be, as far as publicly, would not be to the 24th of October due to the 10th being Columbus Day, and we do not meet on Columbus Day. The 17th would be, I'm in October at the moment. The 17th.
I think September 12th might be appropriate if that's what.
We believe that we have enough time. That's why I do not want to, I believe I will speak for the trustees at this point. I want to make sure that we are not 93% at September 12th. I want to make sure we are 100% at September 12th. So at that point, I would like to make sure that we have either a yes or a no, so that we can make our decision based upon that.
Well, I think at this point, it might then, if that is the case, it might behoove us to see if a continuance is even something that the board's willing to consider.
Okay.
So I think the appropriate motion at this point would be a motion to continue the hearing to another date. We'll figure out that date.
All right.
For discussion purposes only. There'll be a second, and then we can discuss whether or not, or just straight vote, yes or no.
All right. Is there anybody that would consider?
I need him to clarify that. So you're asking us to vote on a continuance to hear it,
He's asking for a motion first, so we can talk about it.
then we can talk about it.
Then we can talk about it.
Sorry.
This is only for the continuance at the request. We just want to make sure the record is clear.
Okay, gotcha.
That we've acknowledged Mr. Moore's request, and however the board decides to vote, if there is going to be continuance, we can figure out the date. But if the board decides that it's not going to be continuance, we can proceed today. So the motion should be to motion to continue the matter. We can leave
I'll
it.
make a motion to continue the hearing until October 24th.
Motion made by trustee Blatzer,
Second.
second by trustee Snagowski. All those in favor?
Any discussion?
Well, no, all those in favor of
Oh, yeah.
making, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No, I'm sorry. Mr. Mayor, it should be discussion first. Whether or not
I'm asking for a motion to approve
the continuance.
the continuance. So I'm asking that first, so before we.
No,
It has to
No,
be
you open it.
discussion.
Right, we had a
I'm sorry,
motion,
we
we had a
did- I'm
second,
sorry,
now we have
I
discussion.
apologize. Excuse me. You are correct. As far as, there was no roll call at that
That's the
point, or a
first.
motion to approve. I am open for discussion. So, at that point, would anybody like to speak in regards to continuing, and this is where you had the question, Mr. Childakis.
Regardless if we continue or not, they still have to make a decision, correct?
Yes, I mean, there's still, at some point, if the property does sell, I would imagine, as Mr. Moore is saying, this issue would become moot, and we wouldn't need to hear anything. They would probably voluntarily withdraw their application, or essentially be forced out of the application since they would no longer be the owner of the property. If that doesn't happen, for whatever reason, we're still here dealing with this appeal at some point. And that would be true of any lawsuit that Mr. Moore has claimed that he's going to file as well. If they're no longer the owner of the property, they would no longer have standing, essentially, to challenge it any further. So, at this point, they would, absent a sale, we're still in the same position.
Same position,
With a
right.
sale, I don't think we need to be.
Right.
So.
Trustee Blatz, or anything?
Is there anything, can I ask staff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there any recommendations the staff would have if we were going to continue this? Any stipulations or thoughts on it?
My recommendation would be that.
Would you state your name for the record, please, since we are?
Charity Jones, Planning and Economic Development Director.
Thank you.
My recommendation would be that if the board were to grant a continuance, that a condition of that continuance would be that before this comes back, on whatever date that is, October 24th is the one on the table right now, that there be some sort of weather barrier placed on the roof so that there is not further deterioration within the building. Because obviously, with the roof in the condition that it is now, as time, with every day that passes, there's additional deterioration.
Makes sense. Like a tarp, Charity, is that?
Yes, we've discussed some options in the past with the Archdiocese of what the building commissioner would recommend.
It would be some kind of tarp then?
Would you state your name, please?
Mark LaChapelle, Village of Lamont Building Commissioner. We'd have to see the exact size, whether a tarp would work or not. In some cases, plywood might have to be placed for additional support. The concern was if it reaches winter, we would want something stronger than just a tarp up there, because,
It's not just for rain then, it's?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. The snow load continues to put more pressure and cause more damage.
Is that something you feel would need to be done before October 24th then, to ensure that the roof stays?
It should, yes.
Yeah, I believe the recommendation would be to have something up there within 7 days.
Okay. Trustees, either Snagowski, Stapleton, or Virgilio, does anybody have any questions in regards to that?
I have one question for Jeff. Jeanette Virgilio, village trustee. So if there is a vote that's done on it tonight, even though we say we vote, against the economic hardship, then doesn't that still become a moot issue if they sell the property? Like at a later date?
If there's a vote tonight and we vote, against the economic hardship? Or basically grant their appeal to say?
No, we vote against their appeal.
Vote against?
Yeah, that we don't grant the appeal.
The issue will eventually become moot as well, yes, that's
Right,
correct,
so-
if they upon the sale. That's why I said about the lawsuit that was kind of discussed by Mr. Moore. If the property is sold in the middle of that lawsuit, there would still be no more lawsuit at that point.
Ron Stapleton, village trustee. I would like to give them more time, chance to sell it.
Do you have a date, Trustee Stapleton, that you would like to?
It's the date that Debbie mentioned, the 24th of October.
Trustee Skowski, did you have something you wanted to add or not?
Yes, I just didn't want to say my name, so thanks.
SKY.
Jeff, I wanted to ask, if how you answered Jeanette, if that's the case, then what is the benefit at all about considering the appeal tonight?
If the sale doesn't happen. We would lose a significant amount of time if the sale has fallen through. I believe that there is some evidence in the record to show that if one in the past has, you lose that time. And there's just continued deterioration of the property, which is exactly the whole goal of this, is to make sure the property doesn't deteriorate.
Well, I'll just make a comment that I have some concerns with the condition of the property right now, and even attempting to put a Band-Aid on it right now, which may cause considerable more problems in this next month period. So, Jerry, I understand what you're saying, but it's been that way for a long time. But we go up there and try to put plywood on, if that be the case, we could run into some other problems up there. I'm even concerned about trying to tarp it. I really think it's in bad enough shape right now that how much more could happen to it that needs to be repaired if that's the way it goes. So that's just an editorial comment by me, but that's it.
And if I could just jump in real quick, so if it's forwarded or continued till October 24th, I guess even if there is a purchase, there more than likely will be several months of due diligence. So even in October, we may have to continue it again. And our concern is the further deterioration of the property. So I don't know if anyone could speak. I guess how is an offer letter enough to bring it back to this board, or is it signed, sealed, and delivered, sold? want to, October might not even be the time to.
So into,
We asked that question, George. I didn't.
What even in October, even if you have a sale, maybe a letter of intent,
Correct.
there will be a due diligence period. The sale will not be final, more than likely, by that time.
Right.
So was that a trigger point to bring it back to this board? And I'm concerned about timing, and we can go through the many steps this has gone through in the past of how long we've been dealing with this issue.
I think I think Village Administrator Schaefer's point is very well taken, that, as you said, we come back to the October meeting. If we wait till October, now we're into a due diligence period, drawings, everything that has to come back to the village is that has to happen at that point to go forward, regardless of what it is. In essence of saving this facility. As in Charity mentioned, we have to try to figure some way to so it doesn't deteriorate anymore. So I think there is a condition there that we're all looking at based just upon due diligence, saving the property for one, as far as on that side, if that's so the desire of this board and granting that. But also, again, making sure that there's no further deterioration as we go through this process. I mean, we're sitting here August 8th right now. They're asking for October, or we have brought the date of October at the moment. I personally think that September is a little bit too close to try to be able to get anything accomplished by that time. At this point, can we ask Mr. Moore that question? Is September, Mr. Moore, do you believe that is September enough time to complete this transaction, or do you believe that you need October?
Well, given the current letter that was sent to us said 30 days. So, I'd rather try, in the next 34 days to pin something down and have a solid way forward that everyone wins on, than to, given some of the concerns about if we get to October, we're already heading towards winter and all that. And to answer another question that came up, absolutely, we'll withdraw our request, and if there's no need for it anymore, and if we can move forward with a win-win for everyone. So, September would certainly be a chance at trying to make everything work. And I will promise you on our side, we will diligently try to get it done by.
So that would be September 26th for the record, and for the trustees' benefit as far as the record, and as the record goes, that would give you almost a month and a half, or a little bit more than that, to be able to secure that. Trustee Snagowski, what would you like to add?
Yeah, I've got a couple other questions
Sure.
that I'd like to ask Jeff about. Under this appeal of the applicant and our vote, if we were to take it tonight, can we apply any conditions to this? Are we able to talk and change any conditions of the application tonight? In other words, can we put a clock on it that if it isn't done by such and such a date, it will automatically be denied, which would preclude us needing to have another hearing to do it again. We'd set the date tonight. If it doesn't happen, it's over. We could do something like that.
You
would-
can approve the appeal or with conditions.
That's my point.
Yeah,
Can
you
we-
can. I'm not sure what your scenario exactly is entailing right now, whether you continue. The scenario you gave, I'm not exactly sure what it is you want to accomplish on that. But yeah, if we go through the hearing and we approve it with conditions and say it's denied or it's approved, the appeal is approved.
35 days, if a contract isn't entered into, this appeal would be denied. I mean, that
Well,
would
you would
be the
deny the
type of
appeal.
condition.
You would deny the appeal and delay.
Whichever way it
We
goes.
could stay. We would stay it with, and I'm assuming with the agreement of the church. At that point, that's not really a condition. That's staying. That would essentially be staying the order, and delaying any kind of review period as well, by agreement for a court case. So it's typically 35 days. Upon agreement, no judge is going to say that you two guys couldn't agree to that, so they would allow it as long as it's what's agreed upon. That is an option as well, but it seems like we're going through an awful lot, one way or another, to get to the final end.
Jeff or Charity, how long has this process been occurring? How many times have we had some positive news on it and then it's fallen apart?
Sure. So the original certificate of the original certificate of appropriateness was applied for on January 9th of 2015. That was heard in a public hearing by the HPC on the Historic Preservation Commission on February 12th, 2015, and denied. Per the UDO, the certificate of economic hardship was then to be applied for within 60 days of the close of that hearing. At the petitioner's request and the village's agreement, that deadline was extended from its original date of April 12th, 2016, various times until November 2015, at which time the petitioner filed for the certificate of economic hardship on November 30th of 2015. The HPC opened the public hearing for the certificate of economic hardship on January 14th, 2016, and continued it to the February 11th, 2016 meeting to allow the applicant to consider a proposal from a party that was interested in potentially purchasing the site, to provide some additional evidence of past marketing efforts, to provide some additional supporting documentation on the estimated cost of demolition, and to submit information on the plan for the property if a certificate of economic hardship were to be granted. The petitioner again requested the hearing to be continued on February 3rd. On February, which the PZC then granted on February 11th, continued it to the March meeting. The HPC again continued the hearing on March 13th, 2016 to the April 14th, 2016 meeting. On April 14th, 2016, the HPC concluded the public hearing and voted to deny the certificate of economic hardship. On June 9th, the petitioner submitted the appeal of the HPC's decision to the village board. On June 28th, village staff gave the petitioner the option of either scheduling for the July 11th village board or this meeting, and the petitioner selected this meeting.
I think there's been plenty of time. I think we move to
I just have a quick
make a
question.
decision.
I have a quick question for Mark.
Go ahead.
Mark, have you actually inspected the roof structure? Or
We have not.
you have not?
We went into the building, it's been 2 years ago now. There was a structural report given that did not show any danger of collapse. You know, under the International Property Maintenance Code, it does have to be secured and remediated to keep the elements out. So it's you know, not really an option. It does have to be done. We've been trying to work with them through this process without enforcing that, you know, with violations. And we're still in that process.
But it can't be done? I mean, you have indicated that it can physically be done, but it's a funding issue?
Yes, that's what the church had said.
And you said something, you said a structural report. How long ago was that? How
Again,
long ago
that's
was
been
that made apparent?
about 2 years ago, I believe.
The petitioner submitted a structural report as part of their application.
Okay, that's the stack that we have in front of us.
Yeah.
So we have a motion on the floor to either, to extend the appeal process. In listening to the petitioner at this point, I am going to amend that motion. Actually, I need a motion to amend the,
I would, since it's my motion, I'll amend my motion from October 24th to September 26th.
all right?
Is there any other conditions?
Is there any other conditions that anybody would want to add?
That it be tarp, that it be?
Maybe tarp or?
TARP seems to be a good idea. I mean, if they're
That'd
trying
be
to sell it, they'd hate to
secured.
have it.
Essentially, that it be
carried
secured, that it be secured pursuant to the International Property Maintenance Code, which would have an approved method in there.
Okay? Which then would be verified by Mr. LaChapelle.
And to do so within 7 days of today,
Okay?
at least begin.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
And to do so within at least 7 days of today.
Does anybody have any other things they would like to add to that?
Well, what happens if it's not done?
Then that's a fine part. Then that goes into the
Violation.
the violations of the building codes. Then we have what's set at that point. All right, any other questions or comments that want to go in regards
Does
to?
the second agree? I don't know who seconded it.
I'm sorry, so there's an amendment, I'm sorry, there's a motion to amend the previous motion made by trustee Blatzer.
I
Do have a
second the amendment.
Second by trustee Stapleton. Discussion in regards to that would be,
Yeah, just one, I want to ensure that all options to the board are readily available and understood. Jeff, are they able to open up the public hearing, hear testimony, and then still continue it if they're undecided at the end of that hearing? Just want to make sure.
Yes, first off, it's not a public hearing, it's an appeal, so let's make sure that the record is clear on that. But yes, we can begin and continue at any point. We don't have to decide today. In fact, even if you were to hear all testimony today and conclude, it would probably be another 2 weeks until a final written order came out, as I was going to advise. But if you wanted to continue this to September with those conditions, and the parties are in agreement on that, it's their request, you know, you can take any factors that happen in between that time as well as part of your appeal, any of the issues. During that time, if after 7 days it's not tarped, I believe that Mr. LaChapelle will issue citations then. He'll be forced to.
Yeah, good. Just ensure the board understands that's an option.
But your other, obviously the other option is to not continue the matter and to continue today, and then if there's an order and they continue with their sale and it looks good, we can always stay, we can always agree to an extension as well.
all right. So for clarification, I will read this, and hearing officer, please make sure that I am saying this correctly. There's a motion and a second to approve a extension of the appeal for the economic hardship of St. Patrick's Church to the September 26th Village Board meeting. And with that, if the extension is approved, that within 7 days, there needs to be some type of
Approved.
Barrier.
Secure barrier that's attached to the roof that the Lamont Building Code and the International Building Code approves of and inspected by Mr. LaChapelle. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right.
It's the Illinois Property Maintenance Code.
Illinois Property
Interna-
Maintenance
sorry,
Code.
international.
I apologize. Illinois Property Maintenance Code. Thank you, Jeff. All right. Is that a roll call or voice vote?
I would do a voice vote on this. It seems like there's some potential
You said
dissent.
do a roll call?
voice vote. I'm sorry, a roll call.
All right,
Okay.
roll call to approve that motion.
So approval would essentially continue the matter with those conditions. The
Right.
condition being
Okay.
the property must be secured and from the elements as approved by the International Property Maintenance Code and by a building commissioner. This hearing has begun and opened. This is just a continuance of that. We would
Open.
continue the rest of the
On the
the hearing at
26th.
that point, or the appeal at that point.
Yep. All right. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Oh, you want a roll call? Oh, that's,
Yes.
okay. Let's see, Stapleton
Yes.
and Virgilio?
No.
Pardon me, that was no?
No.
And, let's see, Blatzer
Yes.
and Chaldikis?
No.
And Snagowski?
Yes.
And
With
Mr.
trustee, with trustee Miklos being absent, it continues as a no. That would be
You would,
correct,
you would need to vote, Mr. Mayor.
which means I need to vote.
Yes.
Mayor votes yes.
All right, so the record is,
So the motion approves to grant St. Pat's an extension to the appeal till September 26th. At that point, we will reconvene to reopen the appeal
the appeal,
process.
the appeal at that point, or whatever happens in the interim. But
Right,
at this point,
we will have an update from St. Pat's at that time. For procedure purposes, Mr. Stein, will we then, at that point, do that under new business again? Will that
It
go
would
under
be
new business, or would that
under,
actually be?
old business.
That'd be under, I'm sorry, thank you. That'll be under old business at that point, and then we will make a motion to reconvene at that time. Would that be correct?
That's correct.
Appeal
So
process?
That is absolutely correct. So essentially, back on September 26th, we'll have probably an update, I'm assuming, from Mr. Moore and as well as from the applicant. We can determine then whether or not we are going to proceed, or whether or not, it would be moot to proceed. But at this point, this appeal is open and continued to that date without further notice. So for those in the audience that want to be here, that's the date. It'll be on the agenda, but we're not going to mail anything to anybody.
September
Okay.
26th.
September 26th.
September 26th. Okay.
I would like to make a comment to the citizens and everybody come out. I appreciate all the emails that have been sent by everybody, both in favor and opposed to this. Obviously, a situation like this is a very delicate one. We have a historic preservation committee for a reason. It's the core and the basis of our town. So with that being said, again, I appreciate everybody's input. Continue to send it to all of us. We truly, we do read it all. We respond as best we can. We do get a tremendous amount of emails right now, just based upon some of the other questions that were brought up tonight. But we take this matter very seriously as a board, and we will continue to do so. And it is the input of everybody here that makes a difference. So, with
Mr.
that,
Mayor, if I may add to that, if anybody here is here today that cannot make it to that meeting, I believe if you send a letter to Mr. Schaefer or to the mayor asking it be part of the record, we would include that as part of the record.
yes, we will
So
make sure
have a
that's
voice
read
in
into the
that.
record on September 26th. We will definitely make sure that's read in. So, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. All right, so that that continues that. Correct, Jeff? I can go on to the rest of the agenda?
That's it. That matter of the agenda has been.
All right. Do we have all this under executive session?
Close
then?
this hearing?
No, we've moved it. So we just voted to move it, so we don't have to close, we're not closing
Okay.
anything, it's just moved. So with that being said, do we have all these for executive session tonight?
What are them?
Yes? Yes. Okay. All right, so with that, I need a motion to move to executive session to discuss under Chapter 5 ILCS of the Open Meetings Act, pending litigation or probable or imminent litigation under Section 2C11, the purchase or lease of real property for the use of village under Section 2C5, and employment of an employee under Section 2C1. I need a motion to move to executive session.
So moved.
Made by Trustee Blatzer, second by Trustee Stapleton.
Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
it's the discipline of an employee, not the employment of an employee. That's just so the record's clear.
Thank you. Discipline of an employee. What did you do, Schaefer? Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call, please.
Okay, let's see. Stapleton.
Yes.
Virgilio.
Yes.
Blatzer. Tildekas. Me, close absent. Snagowski.
Yes.
Motion approved. We move to executive session. Thank you again, everybody, for coming tonight.